Welcome back to Do It with Dean. If you've been following along with my 15 horse Johnson rebuild and restoration, uh, then you know why I'm about to attempt to restore this old 3 gallon OMC gas tank. Uh, the plastic tanks, I have one. It had a crack in it. And, just keeping with the theme of this 40-year-old motor that I rebuilt, I wanted to get something more appropriate, something more uh, specific to the date range of the motor. So I was able to find this OMC 3 gallon low boy, and basically it's hard to see from there, but it's just a little short 3 gallon metal gas tank. And this is probably early 80s model. I'm not exactly sure, but it's basically just a little 3 gallon gas tank, um, the old school OMC style. Um, I found these. I started looking on them. I found one on Facebook Marketplace, and the guy wanted $15 for it. And I thought, well, what are the chances? I asked him to look inside of it, and he said, yeah, it looks pretty rough on the inside, but the outside looks pretty good. So thought I'd try to get it back into working order. You can see it's pretty nasty on the inside. Um, There's flakes of rust. It's not terrible, and I don't have a picture of the inside of it. Can't get down in there really to show you a picture, but it had something in it, and it smelled like varnish, shellac, old gas. But the consistency of it was like water. When I poured it out, it definitely looked like water. So I guess it's just decomposed old fuel because it smells like fuel, but it's like water, not oily at all. So it had about, I don't know, a half gallon in it, and I poured it out, and it had flaky rust in it and some other stuff. So I figured it's salvageable. We'll see. um, so what I'm going to do, I've already filled it with a gallon of just regular distilled vinegar, just household vinegar. Um, I put a gallon in it. If I had 3 gallons, I'd fill it all the way to the top, but I don't. So I put a gallon in it, and then I took an old bucket of. I had a jar full of uh, nuts and bolts and washers and stuff like that. I didn't have a thing of ball bearings or anything, but I put them down inside the tank with that gallon of vinegar, which I'm going to let that vinegar sit for a couple of days. And every now and then I'm going to shake those nuts and bolts inside there and try to loosen up all the uh, flaky rust. And we'll see how that turns out. Um, Now, the parts for these caps, the caps are quite expensive. If you try to buy the cap like used in good shape, it's like $25 for the cap. This one's not bad. It's just got some rust on it, but it's complete. Um, I found some gaskets for this, and they even sell the O-rings and everything else necessary for this vent. Um, I may have to replace that too, but the seal here on the inside that goes here is completely gone. So I don't have a tank blast like a media blaster, but if I did, I would get this completely clean and work on this cap. But I don't have it right now. I may do that later. But I'm going to try to let this vinegar sit for a little while, and depending on how much rust I am able to get out of it, um, we'll see how it works out with this vinegar. I'll pour it out, agitate it some more with the media inside, all the nuts and bolts. Try to get off as much as I can. And then what I think I'm going to do is electrolysis on the inside of this tank. I will mix a solution of baking soda and water and fill this thing up. and then I'll put a battery charger on it at about 2 amps, and I'll let it sit for a while with an anode rod in it, a piece of steel, and I'll see how much more of that rust I can get out. And I think if I get it mostly out, I'll just slap a small filter on the fuel line going to the boat inlet, one that allows enough fuel flow. I have to figure that out, but if I can get it cleaned up, I think I'm going to restore this tank. I found Moeller makes the correct paint code for this, and the aerosol version, you can buy it by the pint and the quart, but it's expensive from vintage outboard paints. I may just leave it like this. I don't know. Depends on how clean I get it. But if I decide to restore the tank, I'll do the body work on it. This is silk screened on here, but they do sell stickers that are pretty close. And of course, I'll change all this stuff out. But we'll see what happens. I wanted to salvage this at $15. You can't even buy a plastic tank for $50, $60. So, and this one's just real appropriate for this 14-foot John boat. As far as the weight, I don't think I'm going to need more than 3 gallons for what I do. But we'll see how this works out. I'll get back whenever this stuff's finished sitting. Okay, I got this electrolysis running. I did a little cleanup to the tank. After filling it with vinegar and letting it sit and doing some other stuff, it came pretty clean. A lot of the varnish and old gas came out. After the vinegar sat for a couple of days, I rinsed it out real good, looked inside of it. There was still some, oil and gas residue in there that had shellacked up and, hardened on the tank. I then took some mineral spirits, sloshed it around real good, and a lot of the color came out. A lot of that nasty gas came out with the mineral spirits. I know denatured alcohol works best. I didn't have any. There was still some scaly rust on the underside of the top from where the moisture had sat for quite a while. It was worse on the top of the tank than it was anywhere else. So I stuck a piece of chain down inside there and rattled it around real good. I stuck this chain in there and rattled it around real good. Got a lot of the scales off of it. Descaled it quite a bit. And so now I'm running electrolysis on this tank. What I did was I got some sodium carbonate. It's only $4 or $5 a box. I put 5 tablespoons. I don't know what the appropriate mix is, but I know you shouldn't dump the whole thing in there because at some point it's just all we're doing is making electrolyte solution. So I don't think you need to put too much more in there. And I built an anode out of a piece of rebar, and this is a paint cap off a spray paint can. I just drilled a hole in it, stuck that rebar in there, siliconed it in there so it stays put. The paint cap actually works perfect because the inner part keeps everything from touching, and it's almost a perfect fit. I wrapped that copper around there only because I didn't have clamps big enough to put on the rebar, so that's not necessary, but it's just to keep it on there. So I've positively charged my sacrificial anode here, and I've grounded the cathode side with, to the tank. So I know it's working because I can hear it bubbling. It's actually bubbling some out of the tank. I had to fill it all the way to the top to get the rust that's on the top of the tank exposed to the solution. I've got this hooked to my bench top. I know you can use a battery or battery charger, but some of the modern battery chargers have too many safety mechanisms, and if it's not detecting anything, it won't turn on. It's easier to use a basic power supply. And I've got this set at 12 volts. Right now it's 1.87 amps, 22 watts. But anyway, it's running. It's bubbling out, so I know it's working. I can't see down there because of those vent holes I put in there, but I know it's working. What I'll do is in an hour or so, I'll check on it and make sure it's doing what we want it to do. I'll pull that anode out and I'll film a little bit of that, and then I'll, at some point after, several hours, I'll probably change the fluid in there so that the conductivity is still good. But we're gonna let this cook for a minute and see if we can clear up some of that rust. Okay, we've been running about an hour, maybe a little more. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off my power supply and see what's going on with this thing here. Power supply's off. And let's see if we got anything going on here. And we do. You can see this is smoking hot still. I'm going to clean this anode rod off. You can see here it's attracting quite a bit of rust. And I'm going to continue to run this. It's doing pretty good. I might actually turn up the voltage a little bit maybe. There's some nasty junk in there. Let's see if I can get some of this out of here. And it's hot. I'll let that run. Several more hours now. Get this garbage off of here. Yeah, that's looking pretty good in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this back in there. Let me get this junk off of here. Go ahead and get some of this nasty stuff off this rod. It's doing its thing, that's for sure. Trying not to tear up my little device here. I've still got enough water in here that it's on the top of the tank. Yeah, it's working pretty well. Make sure this isn't touching the sides anywhere. I am going to hook this back up. Okay. And we'll go ahead and hit this back to 12 volts. I'm going to go ahead and turn this up a little bit. Give it 14 or so. Try it out. Okay. So I'm at 14.5 volts now. I'm just going to see what this is going to do for me. Definitely getting some, I put water in here, but it was warm, but it's much warmer now. Get a little thermal reaction there. I'm going to keep it going. It seems to be doing its thing. Go ahead and keep this going. I'll change this water out in the morning. So for about an hour, boy, the water's hot. I wish I could hold this up and show you the reaction that's going on with this anode. Hopefully it'll pick up a little more. I'll change this water out tomorrow, let it run 12, 13 hours, and we'll see what happens. But seems to be doing its thing. I'm going to leave it alone, and it's not boiling over. So we'll leave it like it is, and I have upped it to about 14.5 volts. It's definitely getting some nasty stuff out of there. We'll check back on it in a little while. Okay, we're about 10 hours into this electrolysis, and I'm going to give it a look and see what's going on here. Go ahead and turn this power supply off. Kind of take a look and see what's going on here. All right. We definitely got a mess going on down here. If you can see down in the tank, let me get you over here where you can see. You can see down in the tank. It's pretty nasty in there. It's thick too, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and change. I'm going to go ahead and change this stuff out. Make some new solution and get this tank cleaned out a little bit. Flush it, and then we'll do it again. And we'll see what it's going to look like. A lot of rust coming out of there. Hopefully we're doing some good. Let me get this thing cleaned up and we'll take a look at it. Okay, I don't know if you can see. Let me get some more light here. Get some light down in there. Sorry about that. Get some light down here and see. There we go. So I can get you set up down here where you can see down in there. It looks pretty good down in there. I mean, it is 100% better than it was. But I think what we're going to do is continue and do this one more time. But there is very little rust in there, especially on the bottom. It looks really good. But the top was the worst part. I can't see it, so I'm going to fill this back up and we're going to run this again. All right, we put some more fresh solution in here. I'm going to clean off this anode rod and run this thing again. It did look pretty good. I looked at it pretty good when I dumped all the stuff out of it. Um, rusty material.